This woman warned us about the next global disaster. Was she right all along? Predictions for 2025. Welcome to the journey of wisdom. What if someone had already warned us about the next global disaster but we didn't listen? In this episode, we dive deep into the story of Mo Pra, a mysterious woman whose predictions have shocked the world. Were her visions for 2025 just coincidence, or a wake-up call we can't afford to ignore? But more importantly, what can we learn from her message? This isn't just about prophecy. It's about pausing, preparing, and living more mindfully. It's about choosing wisdom over fear. What do you believe? Are we heading toward disaster or transformation? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's reflect together on how we can grow, stay grounded, and face the future with open eyes and open hearts. Number 1. Who is Mo Pra? After the powerful earthquake struck Myanmar in March 2025, a wave of unease swept across Thailand and, with it, a sudden surge of online searches for a woman named Mo Pra. Her real name is Navaracha Peen Kakorn, but the name Mo Pra has become synonymous with eerie predictions and prophetic insight. While many dismissed her as just another face in the crowd of fortune-tellers that dot Bangkok's busy streets, those who knew her story saw something different. Mo Pra doesn't wear mystical robes or chant in smoke-filled rooms. She looks like any stylish Thai woman, effortlessly blending into modern life with glamorous selfies and active social media posts. But behind that digital persona is a woman who claims she was born with a rare gift, the ability to see what most of us cannot. Her journey from misunderstood child to one of Thailand's most talked-about seers is both unsettling and fascinating. In a rarely seen interview from 2014, aired on Thai television, Mo Pra spoke candidly about her childhood and the unusual experiences that shaped her life. From a very young age, she said she could see spirits. Some were ghosts, others were divine beings. Directly across from her childhood home stood an old, abandoned house that most avoided. But little Pra often stood under the eaves, happily waving at the mysterious figures she saw moving in and out. To everyone else, it looked like a child waving at empty space, and her family chalked it up to imagination. That changed one day when she told them she was playing with an old man who had waved back from the house. Curious but alarmed, her family went to investigate. A brave neighbor entered the building and made a grim discovery: the corpse of an elderly man, long deceased, was inside. Pra immediately pointed to the body and said, "That's the uncle I was playing with." From that moment, everything changed. The community, once skeptical and even fearful of her, now whispered in awe. It became clear that she had a connection to something beyond the ordinary. As she grew older, Pra's visions became more complex. She no longer saw just the dead, she saw deities from various religions. One of her earliest and most vivid encounters, she claimed, was with Krishna, the revered Hindu deity. Her family, stunned by her stories, took her to be evaluated by doctors. After thorough psychological testing, the conclusion came back: she was not mentally ill. Relieved but still unsure how to support her, her parents advised her to keep her experiences private. For years, Pra kept her visions to herself, afraid of how the world would respond. But when she turned 20, something shifted. She began to receive visits from a spirit she believed to be Yamathi, Buddhist god who oversees death and rebirth. This spirit became her guide, teaching her to read faces, understand karma, and eventually predict the future. It was also Yama who instructed her to use the name Mo Pra when she shared messages from the spirit world. By 2010, Pra began offering private readings. What set her apart was the breadth of her predictions, not just personal fortunes, but bold forecasts involving politics, economics, natural disasters, and social movements. She never claimed to be in control of these visions. Rather, she described herself as a vessel, a messenger for divine voices. Some of her visions came like lightning, clear, vivid, and impossible to ignore. Others were cryptic, shadowy, and required interpretation. There were times when even she struggled to understand what she was being shown, but she believed deeply that questioning the visions wasn't her role. Her responsibility, she said, was to share them with those who would listen. As the years passed, her accuracy began to draw attention. In a city teeming with fortune-tellers, few could match the consistent accuracy of her predictions. So when the earth trembled in Myanmar in early 2025 something she had reportedly warned about months before people turned to her once more, wondering what else she might have foreseen. Was she right all along, or is she simply another figure reflecting our collective fear and fascination with the future? Regardless of what you believe, the story of Mo Pra is not easily dismissed. It challenges the boundary between skepticism and faith, between the seen and the unseen. As we move further into 2025, her voice, both controversial and compelling, continues to echo through the digital world, prompting one lingering question in the minds of many: what else has she already seen? Number 2. Past predictions of Prophet Mo Pra. Let's take a closer look at the past predictions made by Mo Pra that left people speechless and others that sparked debate. Many of you might be wondering, can someone truly see what lies ahead? Mo Pra, Thailand's modern-day prophet, has made headlines over the years for her bold forecasts, and whether you're skeptical or curious, it's worth exploring what she actually got right and where she missed the mark. One of her most talked-about predictions came in early 2014, when she warned of a mysterious aviation disaster that would leave the world searching for answers. Just weeks later, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 vanished without a trace. To this day, it remains one of the most baffling aviation mysteries in history. That chilling accuracy made many take notice. Then, only a month later, in April 2014, Mo Pra claimed she saw a vision of a ship filled with children that would disappear suddenly. Tragically, the Sewol ferry in South Korea capsized, taking the lives of over 250 high school students. For those who had already started following her predictions, the details were eerily specific and hard to dismiss. Was it all coincidence, or was something more at play? And her warnings didn't stop there. In June 2015, she spoke about a major disaster in Malaysia, even referencing a fire in a well-known building in Kuala Lumpur. That very month, a 6.0 magnitude earthquake hit Sabah, Malaysia, causing landslides and destruction. At the same time, a fire broke out at the Royal Malaysian Police headquarters right in the capital, just as she'd described. It's events like these that have led some to view Mo Pra not as a sensational figure, but as someone genuinely tuned into something deeper. Still, not all of her visions have come to pass. In 2018, she predicted that Malaysia's former Prime Minister, Mahathir Mohamad, would resign due to illness. While he did eventually step down, it wasn't because of health concerns, and it happened 2 years later than predicted. More recently, in 2023, Mo Pra claimed that Thailand's progressive Move Forward party would win the national election, but it was the Pheu Thai party that ultimately took the lead. These inaccuracies didn't go unnoticed. Critics, especially within the Thai government, accused her of causing unnecessary fear and spreading panic, warning the public not to believe blindly in prophecy. So where does that leave us? Should we focus only on what she got wrong, or is there still something to be learned from what she got right? And more importantly, what role does belief play when we hear such predictions? For many people, Mo Pra's words have become a compass knot to predict every detail of the future, but to stay alert, to reflect, and to prepare. While her visions may not always be perfectly timed or interpreted, The emotions they stir and the awareness they raise can still serve a purpose. If we listen closely, perhaps the real lesson isn't whether she's always right, but whether we're truly paying attention to the world around us. Are we being mindful of change, aware of warning signs, and willing to question how we live today in order to create a better tomorrow? Whether you believe in prophecy or not, Mo Pra's story challenges us to think more deeply about uncertainty, intuition, and the unseen connections in our world. And maybe the biggest takeaway is this: in a world full of noise, it's the quiet warnings we often overlook that could matter most. Number 3. Mo Pra's predictions for 2025. Let's take a deep look at Mo Pra's most talked about predictions for 2025 forecasts that stirred public attention, triggered anxiety, and made many wonder whether we're truly prepared for what's to come. For months, she remained unusually silent, but that silence ended abruptly after one chilling prediction came true. Early in the year, Mo Pra predicted that a powerful earthquake would strike Myanmar, and that its effects would be felt as far as Bangkok. Not long after, in March 2025, that very event unfolded. A significant earthquake did hit Myanmar, and buildings in Bangkok swayed, rattling the nerves of those living in high-rises. When news reports confirmed the quake and footage showed people fleeing buildings in panic, many who had dismissed her warnings before suddenly began paying close attention. Could this woman, who once made predictions about plane crashes and ferry disasters, have truly seen this coming? And if she was right about that, what else might be on the horizon? Her second major prediction for 2025 carried an eerie sense of mystery and urgency. Mo Pra spoke of a water-related disaster that would strike a province in Thailand, beginning with the letter K. What made this particularly unsettling was her specific claim that this disaster wouldn't be caused by heavy rain or flooding, something Thailand is used to, but instead, it could be the result of land or sea activity, hinting at something like a tsunami or land collapse. Think about that for a moment, though. Does a water disaster happen without rainfall? That question alone created a stir across the nation. Thailand has multiple provinces that start with K, including Krabi, Kanchanaburi, and Khon Kaen, making it difficult to narrow down where exactly she was pointing to. The vagueness of the location, combined with the possibility of a sea-related catastrophe, triggered widespread anxiety, especially among coastal communities. People living in provinces near the Andaman Sea started to watch the tides more closely, listen to the news more carefully, and in some cases, alter their travel plans. The fear didn't just come from what she said, but from the unsettling pattern of her previous predictions that had come true. But perhaps her most dramatic and alarming prediction for 2025 was one she shared live on television in a moment that captured national attention. Mo Pra warned of a massive, global-scale disaster that could begin with a volcanic eruption beneath the Sian event she described, not as a single eruption, but as a possible chain reaction involving multiple undersea volcanoes. According to her, this event might start in Japan, symbolically hinted by her reference to sashimi, or raw fish, or possibly in Indonesia, both of which lie in the volatile Pacific Ring of Fire. She described a scenario where one eruption could trigger others in a domino-like effect, causing a string of underwater volcanic explosions. If this prediction holds any truth, the consequences could be devastating. She suggested that such eruptions might unleash an enormous tsunami, potentially even more destructive than the infamous 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. And beyond the waves, she warned of broader global effects. Contaminated ocean water, dangerous gases rising from the sea, and volcanic ash blocking out the sun, leading to a volcanic winter, where global temperatures drop due to sunlight being blocked by airborne particles. She painted a picture of oceans boiling in places, gases and rocks being blasted into the water, and coastlines across the Pacific being battered by waves. These kinds of warnings naturally make us uncomfortable, but perhaps that's the point. Whether you believe in prophecy or not, hearing something like this forces us to reflect. Are we really prepared for unexpected disasters? Do we take these kinds of predictions as superstition, or could they serve as early warnings opportunities to be more alert, more connected to the rhythms of nature and the fragility of our environment? Mo Pra doesn't claim to control the futures. She says she's simply delivering messages, some of which are clear, and others that even she struggles to fully understand. But if her past predictions have taught us anything, it's that being aware, informed, and humble in the face of nature's power is never a waste of time. If you've made it this far, you're clearly a truth seeker and a big picture person. Comment below with "awakened and aware" to show that you're ready to face the future with clarity. Don't leave yet, there's more to discover. Stay with us until the end to find out what could change everything. Number 4. Scientific response. Let's talk about how the scientific community has responded to Mo Pra's alarming predictions for 2025, especially her claim about a potential global disaster triggered by an undersea volcanic eruption. When she warned of a chain reaction of underwater volcanoes, possibly starting near Japan or Indonesia, leading to tsunamis, contaminated oceans, and even a volcanic winter, many people were understandably shaken. But what did the experts have to say? One of the most vocal critics was Professor Santi, a respected geoscientist who dismissed the idea of a massive tsunami happening in that time frame. He pointed out that earthquakes in the Southeast Asian region, particularly around Thailand, are generally mild and rarely strong enough to cause widespread tsunami threats. There's no scientific basis for such a large-scale tsunami at this time, he said, trying to calm public anxiety. His remarks were meant to offer reassurance, but they also raised an important question: how much can science truly predict when it comes to rare, large-scale natural disasters? Interestingly, while experts like Professor Santi were quick to reject Mo Pra's specific timeline and tone, they didn't completely rule out the possibility of major undersea activity in the future. In fact, most scientists agree on one important point: the Pacific Ring of Fire, the massive geological zone that runs through Japan and Indonesia, is one of the most volcanically and seismically active regions on Earth. This area is constantly shifting and can release immense energy without much warning. And here's where things get more uncertain. An estimated 99% of the world's undersea volcanoes remain unmapped, which means that we're largely in the dark about where eruptions might occur or what their impact could be. Doesn't that make you wonder if scientists don't even know where most of these volcanoes are? How can we be sure of what's possible and what's not? If you think this all sounds too far-fetched, let's go back to a real event that shocked the world: the 2022 Tonga underwater volcano eruption. It was a single undersea blast, but the effects rippled around the globe. Shockwaves were recorded in faraway countries. Tsunami waves were triggered across the Pacific, and satellite images captured a mushroom cloud stretching into the upper atmosphere. This event reminded everyone, experts and ordinary people alike, that the ocean floor still holds immense power and many mysteries. Even though modern science is advanced, nature continues to show us that it can surprise us at any moment. So maybe the conversation isn't about whether Mo Pra's prediction will come true exactly as she said it, but whether we're truly ready for events we can't fully see coming. What's more valuable, trying to prove a prediction wrong, or using it as a moment to reflect on our preparedness and awareness? By looking at both science and prophecy, perhaps we don't need to choose one side completely. Science offers us tools, data, and historical patterns, while people like Mo Pra challenge us to consider possibilities that fall outside the usual lines of logic. Both perspectives can serve a purpose if they help us stay alert and connected to the world around us. So here's something to think about. Are we listening only when disaster strikes, or are we paying attention to subtle warnings, whether they come from experts or unexpected sources? In the end, the real lesson isn't about being right or wrong, it's about staying awake, asking questions, and being willing to prepare even when the future feels uncertain. Number 5. The countdown. As we approach the end of July 2025, many people are quietly watching the calendar, haunted by a single date, July 31st, the deadline Mo Pra gave for a potential global disaster. Whether you follow her or not, her words have stirred deep questions about what we believe, what we fear, and how uncertainty affects the way we live. Will it happen? That's the question on everyone's mind, but no one, neither scientists nor prophets, can answer it with certainty. And perhaps that's where the real tension lies. If Mo Pra turns out to be right, it may mark what she ominously called humanity's darkest hour, a time of destruction and transformation on a global scale. But if she's wrong, we're left with something just as important, a powerful lesson in the influence of belief, the impact of collective fear, and the psychological weight that prophecy can place on a society. You might ask yourself, why do so many people give attention to these predictions in the first place? It's not just curiosity. It's the fact that when someone appears to foresee major events with accuracy, like natural disasters or political shifts, we start to wonder if they've tapped into something we've overlooked. We begin to ask questions we often avoid in everyday life. Are we prepared for the unexpected? Are we paying attention to the world around us? This is where the message becomes relevant to our modern lives. Whether or not disaster strikes, this moment reminds us how important it is to stay grounded, informed, and connected to both the scientific world and our deeper sense of intuition. In today's fast-moving society, it's easy to dismiss spiritual warnings as superstition, but history has shown that sometimes unusual voices alert us to truths we've been ignoring. So, how should we respond to a prediction like this? Should we panic, stay skeptical, or try to find balance? The most helpful path might be a middle one. Instead of fear, let this be a reminder to reflect on how we're living. Are we nurturing our relationships, taking care of the environment, staying informed, and preparing our communities for potential crises, both large and small? Fear alone doesn't protect us, but awareness can guide us to take meaningful action. And if nothing happens on July 31st, perhaps the real value lies not in the prediction itself, but in the wake-up call it gave us. Because whether the disaster is physical or emotional, personal or global, the way we respond reveals who we are. In the end, predictions may come and go, but wisdom stays with those who listen, prepare, and keep their hearts open without letting fear take control. What can we learn from Mo Pra? Practical lessons for everyday life. Whether you believe in prophecies or not, Mo Pra's story raises a deeper question. Are we truly paying attention to the subtle signs around us? Not everyone claims to see the future like Mo Pra, but all of us at some point have felt a strange hunch, a quiet instinct, or a vivid dream that lingered in the back of our minds. The problem is, in today's fast-paced world, we often dismiss those signals without reflection. Maybe what makes Mo Pra's predictions so compelling isn't just whether they come true, but how they force us to pause, reflect, and prepare. And that's where the real value lies, not in fear, but in awareness. So, what can we take from this? Number 1. Slow down and listen to your inner wisdom. In our fast-paced modern lives, filled with constant notifications, endless to-do lists, and the pressure to always be doing, it's easy to lose touch with that quiet inner voice that has guided human beings for centuries. One of the most practical and profound teachings we can take from Mo Pra is the importance of slowing down and listening not just to the world around us, but but more importantly, to our own inner wisdom. In many Buddhist teachings, it is said that the quieter you become, the more you are able to hear, a truth that resonates deeply in today's overstimulated culture. Mo Pra, in essence, is a symbolic figure reminding us that truth and guidance are not always found in the loud or obvious places. Rather, they often arise in stillness, in silence, in the subtle nudges of the heart and mind. Whether viewed as a real prophet or a metaphor for inner clarity, Mo Pra points us toward mindfulness and presence. Just as a still pond reflects the sky clearly, a calm mind reflects wisdom without distortion. The challenge is that most of us rarely give ourselves the space to become still. Instead, we reach for our phones the moment there's a pause, filling every quiet second with noisy, and in doing so, we drown out the insights that only come in moments of rest. But we can reclaim that space. By intentionally spending just 5 quiet minutes a day, no devices, no tasks, just sitting with our breath and observing our thoughts without judgment, we start to attune ourselves to the gentle signals of our inner life. Perhaps it's a whisper that we're tired, that we're holding on to anger, or that a decision we've been avoiding needs our attention. This small act of slowing down becomes an act of self-respect and clarity. The Buddha taught, peace comes from within, do not seek it without, and this simple, consistent practice is a doorway to that peace. In our daily routines, we don't need to retreat to mountaintops or monasteries. We need only to pause, breathe, and listen deeply. Over time, this inner listening sharpens our awareness, improves our decision-making, and reconnects us with what truly matters. It also allows us to meet life not with reactivity, but with compassion and understanding, both for ourselves and others. So today, as the world rushes on, give yourself permission to be still, to hear the wisdom already within you, and to allow that quiet strength to guide your next steps with grace. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below with just one word: stillness. It's a small way to honor your inner peace and remind others to slow down too. Number 2. Be prepared, not paranoid. In a world that constantly shifts beneath our feet, where global events, personal changes, and unexpected challenges can appear out of nowhere, it's become clear that being prepared is not a sign of fear, but a sign of wisdom. One of the most practical lessons we can learn from Mo Pra, whether we take his predictions literally or view them as symbols of life's unpredictability, is this: be prepared, not paranoid. Think about it. When was the last time you truly felt ready for a sudden change? Not just stocked up on supplies, but steady in your heart and clear in your mind. Life doesn't always give us warnings, and as the Buddha taught, everything that has a beginning has an ending. Make your peace with that, and all will be well. This isn't a call to live in fear, it's an invitation to live with intention. Being prepared physically means having the basics: clean water, essential medicines, emergency contacts, and a small plan for your loved ones. It's simple, practical, and deeply calming. But just as important is the emotional and mental readiness that we often forget. How do you respond when life throws you off balance? Do you freeze up, react impulsively, or take a breath and step forward mindfully? Preparation is not about hoarding supplies or expecting disaster. It's about training your mind and heart to remain centered even in the midst of change. Have you ever considered that mental clarity and emotional resilience are just as important as what's in your emergency bag? That's where true peace of mind comes from. Just as a tree with strong roots doesn't fear the wind, a person who is grounded and aware does not fear change. They meet it with presence and wisdom. The story of Mo Pra reminds us that foresight isn't about knowing the future. It's about understanding that the future is uncertain and being lovingly ready for whatever may come. So let me ask you, what small steps can you take today to feel more prepared, not only in your home, but in your heart? Can you reach out to a loved one and reconnect? Can you create a quiet routine that strengthens your inner calm? Can you look at your life with fresh eyes and ask, am I living in alignment with what matters most? These aren't overwhelming tasks, they're invitations to live more mindfully, more awake, and more alive. Because in the end, preparation is not about predicting catastrophe, it's about building inner strength, outer readiness, and the kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. So today, take one action, however small, that brings more clarity, safety, and stability to your life. That is the gift of true preparation, not fear, but freedom. Number 3. Strengthen your relationships while there's still time. In times of crisis, whether it's a personal struggle, a natural disaster, or a global event that shakes the foundation of our daily lives, we quickly discover a powerful truth. It's not money, possessions, or achievements that bring lasting comfort, but the relationships we've built and the people we can turn to. One of the most meaningful lessons we can draw from the story of Mo Pra, whether we view it as prophecy or as a symbolic wake-up call, is this: strengthen your relationships while there's still time. You see, when we get caught up in the busyness of life-chasing deadlines, scrolling through distractions, and measuring success by things that don't last, it's easy to forget how much we need each other. But ask yourself this: if everything changed tomorrow, who would you want by your side? Who truly matters to you? And have you told them lately? The Buddha once said, "A good friend who points out mistakes and imperfections and rebukes evil is to be respected as if he reveals a secret of hidden treasure." That's how valuable genuine connection is. Our relationships are not side notes to life, they are the heart of it. When Mo Pra speaks of future uncertainty, perhaps it's not just a warning about what might happen, but a reminder to cherish what already is. Because no matter how uncertain the future is, love, kindness, and connection are always in our hands. So let me ask you, when was the last time you called someone just to say, "I'm thinking of you"? When was the last time you forgave someone or told a friend what their presence means to you? These simple actions might seem small, but they carry enormous weight. They build bridges, ease suffering, and often come at the exact moment someone else needs them most. Relationships, like gardens, don't thrive by accident. They need attention, care, and time. And yet, so often we wait. We wait for the right moment, the perfect words, or the convenience that never comes. But if Mo Pra's message teaches us anything, it's that waiting might cost us the very connections we need most. So why not reach out today? Not to fix, not to impress, but simply to connect. The Dalai Lama once shared, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive." That wisdom couldn't be more relevant now. Strengthening relationships doesn't require grand gestures. A simple call, a heartfelt message, a quiet presence, it's these moments that deepen trust and bring us closer. As you listen now, think about who's been on your heart lately. Don't put it off. Reach out, speak kindly, and remind them that they matter. In doing so, you're not just offering connection, you're receiving it too. And that, more than anything else, is what keeps us strong, no matter what the future brings. Number 4. Stay alert without falling into fear. One of the most empowering lessons we can take from Mo Pra's message is the importance of staying alert without falling into fear. In today's world, where we are constantly exposed to alarming headlines, uncertain forecasts, and overwhelming amounts of information, it's easy to slip into anxiety or, on the flip side, total denial. But there's a vital space in between middle path that invites us to be aware, grounded, and responsive rather than reactive or fearful. Mo Pra's symbolic warnings, Whether you interpret them as literal predictions or reflections of deeper truths, serve as reminders to remain conscious of what's happening around us without becoming consumed by panic. As the Buddha wisely taught, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. This is not a call to ignore danger or suppress emotions. It's a practice of choosing awareness over alarm and mindfulness over worry. When you hear unsettling news or dire predictions, instead of rushing to react or shut down, pause and ask yourself, what is this situation really pointing to? Could it be asking you to simplify your life, take better care of your health, reconnect with someone you've lost touch with, or live with more gratitude and purpose? These moments of reflection can help you turn fear into wisdom and direction. In modern life, we don't need to retreat or tune everything out to find peace. We need to train ourselves to see clearly and act calmly. That might mean taking a break from the constant news cycle or setting boundaries with conversations that only stir up dread. It could mean preparing in small, practical ways like organizing your space, reviewing your finances, or simply making a healthier choice today. These actions, though quiet, are powerful. They give us a sense of agency and remind us that while we may not control the world, we do have control over our next step. As Lao Tzu said, "If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." So instead of asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" try asking, "What small wise thing can I do today to support a better tomorrow?" This kind of mindful awareness protects our well-being while keeping our hearts open and our minds clear. Staying alert without slipping into fear becomes a way of living with courage and compassion, qualities the world deeply needs right now. So, whether Mo Pra's predictions come true or not, perhaps the real question isn't, will disaster strike? But, are we paying attention deeply, calmly, and wisely to how we're living today? Her story reminds us that being aware is not the same as being afraid. It's an invitation to slow down, listen within, prepare with care, and strengthen what truly matters: our relationships, our clarity, and our compassion. Thank you for watching The Journey of Wisdom. If this video gave you something to reflect on, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos, where we explore more insights from Buddhist philosophy, real-life stories, and timeless truths that help us live with purpose in uncertain times. Until next time, stay grounded, stay awake, and keep walking your journey one mindful step at a time.